When designing a form, it's a good idea to create a group called an option group, where the user can see what options they can choose from. I'm in the design of this form at the moment, and I want to create an option group instead of location as a text field. So I'm going to delete the field location. I'll just click on it and hit the delete key. In my controls, which are available in my design tab, I have the option here called option group. So I'll click the option group button and I'll click where I've got a bit of room. This immediately starts the control wizard, and there's a little bit of a picture on the left hand side indicating what it is that you're about to create. Now the labels of each option are to be room 100, room 101, room 200, room 400, and lastly room 500. So these are the labels that are to appear for each option. And next. If I want to, oops, I'll just go back, yeah, next. If I want to, I can make it that it has the default of room 100 or any of the listed options, but I actually don't want a default to be set, so I'm going to say no, don't have a default, and next. Now, irrespective of the labels, you can say what values you want stored, and these can differ from the labels. For example, if they choose room 100, the value 1 will be stored in location. If they choose the room 101, the value 2 will be stored in location. So you can edit these values if you want to, but I'm just going to leave them as they are. So it also indicates here that this first option is 1, the second option is 2, the third option is 3. So I'll go next. If they choose one of those rooms, the value 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, I would like stored in the field location. And next. Now this is where you can decide on the look. At the moment it has an options button look, but you might go for a checkbox or tick look, or a toggle buttons look. Option buttons is probably the most common because people generally associate option buttons with choosing one. Where checkboxes, they might try to choose more than one and get upset when they can't, and toggle buttons is just really confusing. So I'm going for option buttons, and then you can go for like a sunken look, a raised look, shadow, all these different sorts of looks as you click around. And so I might go for a raised look, and next. And then you just give it a name. So I'm going to call it location. And finish. And there's my option group. Now it looks quite peculiar. So I'm going to click on class name, and using the format tab and the format painter, I'll click on the option group. And I may have to go for the title. If I want to apply the format to each of the labels, I'll just try again by hitting the format painter and clicking on the label. Oh yes. Now to quickly apply it to a lot of them, I'll click on one, like class name, and I'll double click the format painter. And it actually mentions in the screen tip, FYI, to apply the formatting to multiple places, double click the format painter. So I'll double click, and now I can say room 101, 200, 400, 500, and then I'll turn it off by clicking the format painter icon again. I can then move things around, so I might just grab location and put it out to the side. Always remember you've got undo if you completely muck it up, and I'm just going to lift location up and put it about there. I'm actually not happy with the look of that location, so I'm going to click on class name, this label, and using the format painter I'll paint it onto there and then just stretch it out. And that's my location. Now I'm just going to check if it works, which is always a good thing. So if I go the home tab and I hit the form view button, I can then check whether I can choose this room, this room, this room, this room. And so it's an option group. They can only choose one option. So I'll go for room 100. And as I move to each record, I can choose 101, and move to the next one, 200, move to the next one, 400, and the last one I'll move to 500. And as I move back through my records, I can see which option has been chosen. So that's an option group. Now also it's very nice to be able to add a logo to your form. It just personalises it and gives it a little bit of professionalism. So I need to return to the design view of my form. And what I'd like to do is add a logo. So I'm just going to go, it doesn't really matter where you click, but I'm just going to click in the details section. And in the controls, I'm going to insert an image. And if I hit the drop down, I want to choose this one. Insert image, or just image. If I rest on it so you can see clearly, I'll click this button and then I'll click somewhere on the form. And then I go and find the image that I want. So I'll just quickly run off and find my logo. But you can choose any picture that you have access to. And there's my logo there. And then I'll move it and situate it where it would be most useful. So I'm going to move it and put it up over here, which means I have to move other things around a little bit. And that's fine. And then I'll view my form and just see how it looks. And there's my logo. So you can add any particular picture you want to. If I go back to form design, there are properties also associated with pictures. If I click on this picture, here's its properties here, and probably the one that's used the most is the size mode. You can zoom, you can stretch, and you can clip. Now these become more and more important depending on the size of your picture. So if I was to resize this logo a little bit, there it's on clip, but I could tell it to stretch, and it'll stretch into the frame. Or I can tell it to zoom into the frame. So I'll just go undo several times and put it back to how it was. But yeah, that particular property, size mode, is the most important one when working with a picture.